Welcome to Speak English Club.
To improve English skills, you need to speak, not just watch videos. Our YouTube channel helps you improve both listening and speaking. Then after you speak as shown on screen. This process helps you improve speaking and listening skills at the same time. Let's start.
In this part of the speaking test today, I'd like you to talk about how politics affects your life in surprising or shocking ways.
Okay, I'm ready. Well, one shocking way that politics affects my life is the impact it has on my personal finances. As a young adult just starting out, I'm very aware of how government policies and political decisions can drastically impact the cost of living. For example, the recent changes to tax laws have significantly reduced the amount of my paycheck that I'm able to keep each month. This makes it much harder for me to save up for big purchases like a house, or even just cover my basic living expenses. It's really shocking to see how much of my hard-earned money is going to taxes that fund political agendas I may not even agree with. Another surprising way politics affects me is through its influence on the media and the information I'm exposed to. It's become increasingly clear that many news outlets have strong political biases, often favoring one side over the other. This makes it really difficult to get an objective, balanced view of current events and issues. I find myself constantly questioning the reliability of the information I'm consuming, and wondering how much of it is being shaped by political interests. It's shocking to realize how much my understanding of the world is being manipulated by forces outside my control. The last shocking way politics impacts my life is through its effect on social issues and cultural norms. Things like LGBTQ+ rights, women's reproductive health, and racial equality have become deeply politicized battlegrounds. I've seen how the political leanings of those in power can drastically change the legal protections and societal attitudes around these fundamental human rights. It's shocking to witness how my own personal freedoms and ability to live authentically can be threatened by the whims of politicians.
Thank you, that was a very thoughtful and well-spoken response. I'd like to discuss this topic of politics affecting people's lives in more depth. What do you think are some of the main reasons why politics has such a significant impact on individuals' everyday experiences?
I think there are a few key reasons why politics has such a profound impact on people's lives. Firstly, the policies and laws enacted by those in political power directly shape the economic, social, and cultural environments that we all live in. Things like tax rates, social welfare programs, environmental regulations, and civil rights protections all stem from political decision-making. These fundamental aspects of our society and daily lives are heavily influenced by the political process. Additionally, the political ideology and priorities of those in power can dramatically shift the national discourse and societal norms. When new political leaders or parties take office, they often make it a priority to advance their own agendas, which can dramatically change the public's understanding of important issues. This can lead to rapid changes in what is considered acceptable or desirable, which can be very unsettling and disruptive for individuals. Finally, I think the pervasive nature of media and the internet has amplified the reach and impact of politics on people's lives. With 24/7 news coverage and the proliferation of social media, political narratives and debates have become inescapable parts of our daily lives. We're constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and rhetoric that shape how we perceive the world around us, often in ways that feel out of our control.
That's a very insightful analysis. You mentioned how political decisions can rapidly shift societal norms and expectations. Can you give me an example of a specific policy or issue where you've seen this happen?
One clear example that comes to mind is the issue of LGBTQ+ rights. Over the past decade or so, we've seen a dramatic shift in the legal and social landscape surrounding LGBTQ+ identities and relationships. In many countries, same-sex marriage has been legalized, anti-discrimination protections have been enacted, and there is generally greater societal acceptance of LGBTQ+ individuals. However, this progress has not been uniform or permanent. In some places, we've seen a political backlash against LGBTQ+ rights, with new laws and policies being introduced to restrict or roll back these hard-won protections. The whiplash effect of these political changes has been incredibly disruptive and unsettling for LGBTQ+ people and their allies. One day, they may feel secure in their rights and ability to live openly, and the next, those rights are threatened or taken away. This constant state of flux, driven by shifting political winds, creates a lot of uncertainty and anxiety for LGBTQ+ individuals.
It's a stark reminder that their fundamental human rights and ability to participate fully in society can be subject to the political agendas of those in power. This is a shocking and destabilizing reality that highlights just how much our personal lives can be impacted by the political process.
That's a very compelling example. One final question. What do you think can be done to help mitigate the negative impacts of politics on individuals' lives?
That's a great question, and an important one given the significant ways we've discussed that politics can disrupt and harm people's lives. I think there are a few key things that could help mitigate these negative impacts. First and foremost, I believe we need to work towards greater political stability and consistency. Rapid, dramatic shifts in policies and priorities with each new administration or election cycle create a lot of uncertainty and upheaval. Establishing more durable bipartisan consensus on core issues could help provide a sense of security and continuity for individuals. Additionally, I think it's crucial that we strengthen the independence and integrity of our democratic institutions and media. When political actors are able to unduly influence the flow of information or subvert the checks and balances of government, it leaves citizens vulnerable to manipulation and abuse. Robust safeguards to protect the independence of these vital pillars of democracy would go a long way. Finally, I believe greater civic engagement and political literacy among the general public is key. If more people understand how the political system works and how to effectively advocate for their interests, they'll be better equipped to navigate the challenges it presents. Investing in education and empowering citizens to be active participants in the political process could help mitigate the sense of powerlessness that many feel.
You've made some excellent points about the need for political stability, independent institutions, and civic engagement to help mitigate the negative impacts of politics on individuals' lives. I'd like to dig a little deeper into that last point about civic engagement. How do you think we can encourage more people, especially young people like yourself, to get involved in the political process? What are some of the barriers that prevent greater participation?
That's a great follow-up question. I think encouraging greater civic engagement, especially among young people, is absolutely crucial if we want to create a political system that is more responsive to the needs and concerns of individual citizens. One of the biggest barriers I see is a sense of disillusionment and cynicism about the political process. Many young people feel like their voices don't matter, that the system is rigged, or that politicians are only looking out for special interests rather than the common good. Overcoming this pervasive attitude is a major challenge. I think part of the solution lies in making the political process more accessible, transparent, and relevant to people's everyday lives. Politics often can feel like an abstract, distant realm that has little bearing on the realities we face. But as we've discussed, the decisions made by those in power have profound impacts on our finances, our freedoms, our communities. Helping people connect those dots and see the real-world relevance of politics is key. Education also plays a huge role. Ensuring that young people have a solid understanding of how government works, what the different roles and responsibilities are, and how they can make their voices heard is critical. Civics education should be a core part of the curriculum, not just a footnote. And it needs to go beyond just dry facts and figures. It should empower students to think critically about political issues and engage in meaningful ways. Finally, I think we need to make the process of getting involved more user-friendly and accessible. Things like voter registration, contacting representatives, attending town halls, volunteering on campaigns. These should all be as easy and straightforward as possible. Leveraging technology to streamline these processes and meet people where they are could go a long way. Ultimately, I believe that if we can overcome the barriers of disillusionment, lack of relevance, and inaccessibility, we'll see a surge in civic engagement that will help create a political landscape that is more responsive, more stable, and ultimately less disruptive to people's lives. It's a lofty goal, but one that I believe is essential if we want to build a healthier democracy.
Thank you, that was an excellent and comprehensive response. You've clearly given this topic a lot of thought and have some very insightful perspectives to share. This concludes the speaking test. Well done.